So, Roger, it's very nice to see you. We've just come downstairs after the press conference where you were asked about 10 or 12 questions by the press who are here from all around the world. And the extraordinary thing that struck me was that there was only one question about the music of The Wall. Did that strike you as odd?
No, not really. I think people maybe take the music for granted. I know I do. I mean, I love it. I really do. I've been listening to it a lot while I've been working on the visuals for the show, and I get a kind of a frisson of excitement when I imagine that getting in a room with the band for the first time, saying, "Okay, let's start at the beginning and go through it," because I think it's going to sound great. I've got a great band, and I think it'll be really good.
Well, tell us why you've decided to do this European tour and sort of revive The Wall at this time.
Well, I did a tour that finished a couple of years ago, where I did the whole of Dark Side of the Moon as one half of the show, and it went very well. And I had been somewhat reluctant to take that whole kind of classical piece and to redo it, but I took a deep breath and did it, and it really worked well. And I enjoyed the tour very much. So having finished that one, when I'd recovered a bit, I thought, well, maybe I'll go and do. Maybe I've got one more in me. And as I said in the press conference, Laurie, my fiancée, said, "Well, you should do The Wall." And I thought, no, I can't do that. And then I kept, it wouldn't go away. I kept turning around. I thought, I wonder whether we could, because it was incredibly difficult to do back then in 1980, and we lost a lot of money doing it. And I thought, well, maybe it's possible. So I started to talk to Mark Fisher, who worked on the original one, and he said, "Yeah, no, you can do it easily now. It's much easier to do now than it was then. Technology has come a long way, and A and B, people spend a lot more on tickets than they used to. So he says, I think you can make the figures work where you'll be able to get it even. You might even come out with some gravy, but you can do it without it costing you an arm and a leg." So I thought, okay, we'll do it.
Now, at the time, I remember seeing the show, 2 or 3 times at Earl's Court. The technology now is leaps and bounds from what it was. How does that technology allow you sort of more freedom and indeed sort of enhance the show, this new show?
Well, the main thing is video projection as against sprocketed, rickety old 35mm projectors. Back then we could only project across, in the second half of the show, right, the wall is built and it's a sort of huge screen. And we could only project across, I think, 80 feet of the middle of it. And now we can project across 240 feet. So it's like shining a movie on a football field. It's pretty amazing that one can do that. The technique for building the wall is very similar, but the machinery that we actually use is similar to what we used in 1980, but they're just much better at building it now. They've got it, engineering has advanced a lot in the last 30 years. The preparation of the visual material has changed, is beyond anything you can believe. I've been working since the beginning of January in an editing suite in New York, and we work in Avid, which is an editing system, but it's all digital. And so, back then none of that existed. So if when Jerry Scarf was doing the animation, where 8 people were drawing each cell, but when you did it, then you shot it, and if you wanted to dissolve, it went away to a lab for the dissolve to be, and then it came back. Whereas here, you do it, and it takes a while to render, but only a while. It might take 5 minutes or something. It comes back, and there it is. So I could not possibly have produced the visual imagery that I'm producing now back in 1980. It would have been impossible.
Because in those days, I mean, you really sort of broke new ground. I mean, it was extraordinary. We'd not seen anything like it before. Since then, your contemporaries have sort of taken the visual side of performance to new levels. How are you going to re-establish your position as a true innovator in terms of what you do on stage? Are we going to see some really spectacular effects?
Well, I think they're spectacular. I hope you will as well. The show's going to be very political. It's a very strong anti-war statement. The wall is less in this incarnation the narrative of an individual, me and a bit of Sid. I'm hoping it has a much more general narrative theme and is much more about problems that exist between nations and between religions and between isms than between this one bloke and the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm. I mean, overtly more political, you said in the press conference, and more inclusive as well. Can you expand on that a bit?
I'm become increasingly concerned about the fact that we seem to be fighting more and more unnecessary wars, particularly the United States and the United Kingdom, with Iraq and Afghanistan as the main examples. And it sickens and also saddens me to see, our young men being sacrificed on an altar that we can't define. Because why were we in Iraq? Please remind me. Nobody knows. We certainly know it wasn't because Saddam Hussein was going to attack us, or because he had nuclear weapons or biological. He didn't have any of that. All that was absolute nonsense. So, but there is a reason. There was a reason for it, and the reason was almost certainly cash. At the bottom of all of this stuff, and that's really sickening. And so anything that helps to demystify the processes that go on, the end result of which is those journalists from Reuters being machine gunned from a helicopter that happened, in 2007, or kids playing in their back garden in Fallujah and suddenly a missile appears out of the sky and they're all blown to bits, or the young man who grows up in Oklahoma and joins the army and thinking he's doing the right thing and whatever, and goes to Iraq and gets blown, gets his legs blown off by an IED. All of these extraordinarily traumatic and disgusting events are for some reason, and that reason is not to protect our freedom. It's another reason, and it's very insidious and it's very frightening, and it needs pointing at.
Do you think that the original story of the wall, do you think that story of Pink and his isolation and all that sort of stuff, and going back to you and the autobiographical side of things, do you think that it changed things for people? There was a question. The reason I asked, there was a question in the press conference that you kind of batted away, where someone asked, do people come up to you and say, your music has really changed my life? And your music, along with the rest of Pink Floyd, has changed people's lives. But you kind of batted that away and said,
Well, obviously, the writing is a cri de coeur, and like any art that is successful, people recognize the truth of the expression of the emotions in the thing. It just rings true. You can tell whether somebody's gone, oh, I'm going to write a song about something, or whether somebody's feeling, oh God, I feel awful, and it comes out, or I feel really happy and it comes. You can tell whether things are real or they're not. I think that's what appeals to people, is that in my work, is that they recognize that it's real. It's not invented. It's not artificial in any way. It's sort of real and raw. And when you see, it's like when we read Cormac McCarthy, we recognise the extraordinary way he has of expressing the reality of his feelings through the narratives that he describes to us. And that's what makes it art, and that's what makes it important to us.
We look forward very much to seeing the Wall in its new incarnation. It's very good to see you again after all these years. Roger Waters, thank you very much.
Nicky, it's very good to see you too. You're looking well, sir.